What's up? It's your boy Mean Joe Green, aka Prince of the Ghetto. I want to talk about something today that me and somebody was talking about the other day. We was talking about like these days how most of these artists sound alike. It's like this hip hop era is the copycat era. Whereas back in the day, you had to be all the way original to stand out and be somebody. But today it's like the label's pressuring these new artists to sound like the next artist and let them go commercial and they sound alike. Because I could listen to some music and I ask my son like, who is that? Oh, this such and such. And then another song come on, well, who is that? That's such and such. And I'm like, damn, they sound alike, you know? And then next thing you know, months later, who is that? It's another new name. Who is that? It's another new name. They sound like those other artists that I heard months before. And then you don't even hear them artists no more. And then next you know, here goes some more artists. Different names sound alike. No more longevity in the artists. That's why I call them microwave artists. But it's like the labels look at the artist, oh, you got a hit, let's put that hit out. The label get a check. Look at another artist pop up, you got a hit, let's put that hit out. Whoop, got a check. And then if the artist, it's like after that hit record, bye-bye. TikTok challenge, oh, he on fire on TikTok, oh, let's get him. Put that hit out. After that, on to the next artist. That's what these labels doing, man. And the artists, they're thinking that they finna be something big. They big for a moment. And after that, it's over. And the labels just getting chicks off each artist. And 9 times out of 10, all those artists sound alike. And that's what's screwing hip hop up these days. See, back in the day, you couldn't really sound like the next artist. If any artist came out in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, you knew who they were. When you hear that artist, oh, that's what you call. Oh, that's KRS-One. Oh, that's Dougie Fresh. You knew who those artists was. And that's why they had longer careers, because 2-3 years later, they can drop something else. Oh, that's KRS-One new album. You're going to hear it. And you knew who they was. You were following them. But these days, ever since they came out with that auto-tune, and people was rapping doing that changed hip-hop. That's what messed hip-hop up, really. Everybody wanted to get on there sounding like T-Pain. And everybody, can't sing, get on there and make their voice away. And we didn't know who was who. And I think the labels looked at that and like, well, let's keep this up because, it's working. It's working for them. It's not really working for the artist. You need to be original. That's how you're going to stand long, because we would know who that is. And I'm telling you, man, back in the day, you couldn't do that. Just like on the movie Cadillac Records. When Little Walter saw the old boy that was sounding like him, he was out, faking it. Because, back then they didn't have social media and a lot of media outlets. You just had to hear it on the radio. And a lot of people probably didn't even know how Little Walter looked. But it was a guy acting like Little Walter, singing like him. He was a copycat. And he was out, going, doing shows, getting money, lying, And when Little Walter caught up with him, he said, which one of y'all Little Walter? And he shot him. Because he knew that he was taking money out of his pocket. He was lacking originality, trying to take his brand. And back then, they wasn't going for that biting. You couldn't bite back then at all. And a lot of people, they was doing that because they didn't have social media to get on there and say, hey, I'm such and such, I'm Lil Walter. They couldn't do that. Women and people hear it on the radio, oh, Lil Walter at time. It could be somebody else faking like them. And that's why back then, biting, you couldn't really do that. They was taking that seriously. And, not too long ago, it was artists I know, cause you know Boosie was big in the South, and there was a lot of artists I know they were sounding like Boosie. I'm like, dang, he flowing just like Boosie. He sound just like Boosie. And one time Boosie came to Jackson and he had a mixtape and he was like, man, I'm finna go see Boosie. I want to show Boosie that I can rap, you know what I'm saying? And I was saying in the back of my mind, man, Boosie ain't gonna like that. You sounding just like him. You think he gonna sign an artist that sound just like him, and then when somebody hear it, they be like, is that Boosie? And then no, that's what you call it. They, huh? So now you making Boosie look, you know, like they can't tell the difference. So Boosie looking like, hey, if you come out with something sounding like me, then you taking my fans, you taking my name, you know what I'm saying? You taking my brand. And I was like, artists do not like when another artist all the way sound like them. And I'm telling this guy sounded just like Boosie, Ripley. I was like, he sound like Boosie, but Boosie is not gonna sign you sounding exactly like him. And then you confusing the people, man. Boosie, look at my new artist, he sound like him. No, you couldn't do that. Any artist, if you sound just like an artist, their artist, and you trying to go to their artist talking about check this out to get signed, 9 times out of 10, their artist is not gonna like that or you. Because you coming at their brain. You finna miss you on you trying to be exactly and like them and tarnish their image. Confusing the people. The people could look like when this could be a real Boosie song, and then next thing you know, no, old boy sounding like him. Now they thinking that's him. So when it's time to do a show, he can do a show, and they be like, "That Boosie, is that Boosie or that's such and such?" It's confusing. You confusing the fans. And I'll give you another example, just like Future and old boy up in New York. I forgot his name. Old boy sounded like Future. Man, what's his name? He didn't last long in the game because Future was coming back to back with it. Damn, what's his name? I forgot his name, but old boy that's up north sounded just like Future. He had a hit, you know what I'm saying? But he couldn't do much with it because Future took flight. Damn, what Future said his name was? I forgot his name, but y'all know. If you know, put them in the comments, man. But yeah, man, copycatting artists. I'm talking about trying to sound exactly just like their artist. And you trying to get signed thinking to that artist, thinking that that artist gonna like that you sound exactly like him. It wasn't gonna work. That artist is gonna look at you sideways like, damn, this nigga sound just like me. I'm not finna sign somebody sound exactly like me. You know, that just what wasn't happening. And there was a lot of artists I saw like that back in the day. They want to sound like an artist. And then when the artists come around, they want to, you know, show the artist that they sound just like them. And 9 times out of 10, it wasn't going to work. You think if somebody sounds just like E40, ooh, and then they show E40 that he sounds just like him, E40 going to want to sign him? Hell no. E40 gonna be like, you stealing my flavor. You know what I'm saying? Get on. You taking the brand. A brand is money. That's his name and that's his image. You coming after where he worked hard for, his original. What he stand for, and you copying that, trying to, you know, it's basically like you stealing from him. Those artists is not gonna go for that. But see, the labels, I think now that the labels, they see that their artist winning, they'll sign somebody that sound like their artist, but they know that the label just want us a check from that. Because you're not original. You will not last long signing exactly like another artist. Once you got that hit and it blow up on social media, you better come. Every next track you come after that better be a hit. You can't too many artists come out with a hit back to back. You know? So that's where these days hip hop it come to, man. It come to copycats. And that's why, you know, hip hop is kind of watered down now. Because there's not really no originality. You know, People, coming up with something for themselves, putting they brand out there where people can look like, I know who that is. It's still a few artists like that now, don't get me wrong. But a lot of these young artists, man, they really just copycat. And then, they end up becoming one-hit wonders. Instead of being somebody original and standing out. So, that was me and somebody were talking about the other day, and I just thought I should share that, because, this type of talk need to be put out there, man. I'm going to be the one that bring that type of shit. So, yeah, that's what it is with that, man. Back in the day, you couldn't copy, you couldn't bite. They call it biting back then. You couldn't bite a style and thinking that you finna be that ninja. Because the artist you biting wasn't gonna take it lightly. But these days, these labels, they letting it fly because, hey, they watered it down. They made hip hop the way it is now. That's why it's dying. Hip hop is on life support, to be real. But it is what it is, man. We still got a few artists, you got to find online that's still doing their thing, but they not making them mainstream. So it's easy we could just hear wherever we go. It's artists that sound alike, And maybe the younger generation, they know who each one is because they follow it, but they still sound the same and they don't last long. And that's the problem, man. No originality. But yeah, that's what I want to say about that, man. If you made it this far in the video, like it, subscribe to the channel. And as always, I'm coming back with some more flavor. And it's all good. It's your boy Mean Joe Green. Look, I'm about